Hey everyone, a nerd named Mark here, and it's time to go over episode 36 of Kamen Rider Geats. Let me tell you, superhero time this week was very, for both shows, King Oger and Geats, very dialogue heavy, story driven, character narratives being pushed forward, and I'm okay with that for this week because both, like, Geats is going into the end game. We saw the leaks and everything online. Geats is getting his, I assume, what's going to be his final form probably next week. But we aren't going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about episode 36. I like when these episodes pick up exactly where they left off. Sumri's, Shock, Niram, and Punk Jack are back, which his name's Win, but I don't like saying Win. I'm just going to say Punk Jack, honestly. And Niram says, like at the end of the episode, they're preparing to leave the world immediately. I did find an intriguing moment when Punk Jack says Niram, he's like, so I'm going to be getting my memories erased. And Niram said, no. He basically said, sponsor related parties can be an exception. And I'm like, what does this mean for Time Fire and Neon and everyone, like, and all that, which we find out later on more of. And I was like, okay. I was always curious if they keep leaving the world, like, do these people who sponsored, like, do they get any benefits? Like, oh, thanks for helping us out to run this game. Here's some a parting gift, so to speak. And I was right, as were many of you, with our theories on Archimetal, who I'm now calling Archimato because it's Archimetal with a Jamato, so he's Archimato, because he was putting the beat down on Buffa, which is where they left off before. And he even says, Buffa got arrogant with his powers, and it's too bad it's exclusive to bashing Kamen Rider only and does not affect Jamato. So Buffa was too specific. He should have just been like, I want to be invincible. Like, that's basically it. The Archimetal stuff, this episode was interesting. Like, I'm still, like, there's a lot of team ups and, like, pairings right now that I find really awkward. Kekra and Baroba, even though they're both supporters, something about them working together and everything just seems awkward. And they actually try and strike a deal with Archimetal. And yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. So those two, we don't get much more from those two from a overall what their motivations are fully until probably next episode or so. Because Gene even pops by, and because before this, Gene and Niram are talking, and they're talking about this grand end that's up, and even. Gene knows about it apparently because he's like, oh, it's finally here, though I wish it wasn't. And, Niram now is using Gene as a negotiator with the other supporters because, let's face it, they still have the Vision Driver because that's the thing. They had the Vision Driver. They're not really doing anything with it. And I find that kind of boring. But I find it odd because Gene goes back to his weird supporter ace obsessed ways because his only, his only condition to helping Niram is that he wants to know what happened to Ace's mom. And I'm like, dude, like, he's got, like, I was like, all right, like, sure. And even Punk Jack returns. Ace is even shocked. He's like, oh, you're back, like. And for some other reason, Punk Jack is kind of, I feel like everyone's being shady about the whole Ace's mom situation because even Punk Jack said, oh, I'm looking into this, into Ace's mother after their quick little brief hand-to-hand fight. That was all right. And I'm just like, what? Like, why are you looking into his mom? And I was like, I feel like there's so many, like, Niram obviously right now and Soul are definitely up to something because I don't know. There's more to everything going on right now, and I'm sure next episode's going to be the the haha moment. Like, here's everything. Because, like I said, Kekra's plan and Baroba, because they're trying to work with Archimetal, their plan is to get Archimetal to go after Sarah. Because Kawa needs a tragedy to morph him into a real Kamen Rider. And they promise him that they'll use the Vision Drivers to resurrect all the Jamato and bring them all back. Archimetal if he does this. And I'm like, well, okay, like, I get it. One of the better scenes in this whole entire episode, something I've always talked about when it happens, is I like when we get just the civilian human interaction between Neon and Kawa. They have good chemistry. I always like it, whether it's lighthearted or serious. I like so Nan and Sarah are talking, and Nan reveals what her wish is gonna be, and obviously Sarah, being a huge Nan TV fan, one of her number one fans, this upsets her, and she leaves, and even Kawa, pops up because he's still pretending to be Sarah's supporter, and I'm just like, even though he didn't do the voice or anything, I'm just like, this whole Kawa hiding around and this and that has gotten old pretty fast, honestly. But he's even talking to Nan, and he's like, well, what's going to happen to everyone else when they forget about her? And then she even mentions how, she might be going to the future with Kyun. And Kawa even says, hey, you can stay with me and my sister. She wouldn't mind that at all. And even if Nan doesn't share the same sentiment, Kawa sees her as a friend. And I'm like, just a friend? Just a friend? Because I feel like it would be one of those like heartwarming moments at the end of the show where everyone gets something they're wishing for without actually winning the DGP. Would be, Kawa and Nan together. Nan finding that true love and happiness. Ace reunited with his mom. Buffa just, I don't know, has his own subcontracting construction business, and Toru's back as like his right hand man. I don't know. Right now, Buffa's just and I'll get to the Buffa stuff because I really do like we're getting some character depth and growth to Michinaga. But this is one of those episodes where like everyone got screen time. Like literally, I was like, that's how I know something crazy is going down. That we're going into like some like the end of whatever this subtle arc is that's building up to like the final like arc of the show, because everyone's in this episode. Time Fire's back. Like it even Niram's explaining that they're leaving the world right after the Desire Royale's over, and Niram even asked, and this is why I said the sponsors get some preferential treatment, because he's even asking, hey, are you gonna keep your memories or not? And obviously Time Fire gets mad because he's like, oh, you're just gonna leave, and I was like, well, he doesn't really have much to he doesn't really have any weight over all this to really be like, you guys have to stay, you know what I mean? But like I said, everyone's getting screen time, and it's very civilian, everyone just talking and just pushing and starting to get those like, all right, what plot points can we move forward a little bit more? What can we start trying to get towards the end game of? Because right now the show has a lot of plot points. I'm not going to bring them all up. I'm going to give it a chance. This may be something I'll do later on. If there's any plot points that were like left out of the show, I may have to do a video just going over all the stuff that was like never gone over, that was like planted, because there's a lot of catching up they need to do, and we're 36 episodes in. So realistically, if it's a 48 episode season, because I don't even know if it was confirmed how many episodes, but if it's 48 episodes, we got 12 episodes left. Okay. And yeah. So, okay. I talk about weird pairings, right? This whole Ace Michinaga buddy thing does not sit well with me at all, because they were so like, Buffalo was such a good antagonist to Ace early on in the season. And yeah, it's like that old Goku Vegeta thing and this, that, but like I really liked them when it was just, I want to be better than you, I could beat you, this and that. And now it's like we never really got that fully like resolved, honestly. But I did enjoy Ace poking all these holes in Michinaga's like logic for why he's going against the Riders, because like he calls him an anti-hero, and he even brings up the point like, if a Jamato is threatening a Rider, what would you do? And they're giving like all these like, okay, Michinaga could have like a conflict in his resolve, and I'm like, are we building up to like Michinaga dying? Because I feel like that, like a real death, not a, oh, he's dead and he comes back as like part Jamato, like, which obviously he just miraculously recovered from that. But we're getting these like subtle inner struggles, because when Archimedes finally takes his deal, shows up with the Jamato, he goes after Neon and Sarah, who are walking, and we just see Ace and Michinaga on top of a like cliffside watching while Kay was hiding behind them as always. And the whole entire time, like Ace, while they're watching, like they don't interrupt or anything. They're just watching this fight. And Archimedel's like, separated them. Sarah lost her driver. Nan's being held back by Jamato. And, basically, Archimedo is going to kill Sarah. And even Ace says, like, are you going to let them die or not? And I'm just like, okay, we're building up to like Michinaga. Is he going to be that anti-hero? Is he going to save the day? Save the riders that he wished to have powers to destroy? But it basically was Kawa who henchened and finally made the save and revealed that, basically Sarah now realizes that Kawa's back and she's not too happy about that. So I like Michinaga's conflict and everything. We have Ace stepping up against Archimedo and the Jamato, and Michinaga actually walks and stands side by side with him, and Ace even says the riders shouldn't face each other when the real threat are everyone from the future in basically DGP. And they do a nice side by side henshin. The fighting is really good, but I just hate every time a fight starts with Ace going Geats boost Mark II. I know he's gonna get sleepy. I just know it's gonna happen, and it does in this. And of course, lo and behold, he goes laser boost, and I'm like, this is the formula every time Ace goes into a fight and he starts with boost Mark II. And I'm just like, why even start with that if we know you're gonna get sleepy and you're not like, and. There's a lot of the fighting was so good, and there was a cool moment in a combo attack where Ace literally kicks off of Buffa's chest and bounces back and hits Archimedo, and I was like, oh, that's cool, using the invincibility to like kind of launch yourself off. And even Buffa was like, what the heck, like, what are you doing? And he's like, no, you're invincible, it didn't hurt you. And we got a cool final before the final kick, we gotta talk about this. So this whole entire time, the fever buckle's been zombie, so it's been basically double zombie. I was wondering if Buffa could change it, and he did, because at one point, because remember, Archimedel's like combined with a Jamato that was like also like the crust, like the weird sea monster thing, and he actually switches to monster and punches it right in the freaking face, which was awesome. I like when things get punched in the face. But Ace hits a death blow to Archimedel. And I was like, wait, what? And he's able to I was like, oh, Archimedel's gonna be defeated. And it ended up being, he got back to his garden somehow, very quickly, by the way. And he only was able to save like a few ID cores, but we get this really awkward scene where he's dying and the Jamato are crying all around him, and it's in like a white room. Rose petals are falling as a Jamato are around him, and then he dies. And once again, we're getting to the part where we're going to get some sort of like information reveal before the end of every episode, because in this one, Gene, like I said before, he made the deals with Niram. He shows up to talk to Baroba and Kekura. It even says the grand end is near and that he needs the vision drivers. It basically blames them too. If they weren't acting the way they were, the DGP could still be going. And he also mentions that there's a gate, and any viewers who don't pass through the gate before the grand end and everything's over get left behind and cease to exist. And then even like the thing on the end talks about this gate, and we see it, and I'm like, wait a minute, so is he so they could be left behind? I was like, because I was always curious what happens, like how the viewers get there, this and that. But now we're always obviously learning about this gate, and instantly I'm like, well, if there's a portal to go to the back to their future timeline, I'm like, obviously they're telling us this now because someone is going through that shouldn't be going through that that gate, obviously. But then that's it. Like, it was a good episode. We got a lot of good information, and I love the characters, like the K1 Nan stuff. And I'm hoping now that Kawa isn't hiding from Sarah, that we can get some like scene, like we don't have to get this jokey comedy trying to hide all the time Kawa, because I'm curious what Kekra is trying to draw to Kawa, and it's gonna be good, whatever it is. Like, I still have my theory that we're gonna get Kawa and Ace fighting, and that's gonna be whenever that happens, that's gonna be really good. But that's it for episode 36 of Kamen Rider Geats. A lot of stuff happened, and I enjoyed it. I'm curious where everything is going to go now. So I'm really looking forward to episode 37. So let me know in the comments below what you thought of the episode, and I'll see you guys in the next video.